right. Thanks a lot, everyone who's joined us for the live today. We're speaking to Anu, who's joining us, and she's a master's student and a caregiver for her partner, who has epilepsy since 3 years now. And she's speaking to us about her caregiving journey and what it has been like, the emotional challenges, and what she has learned on this journey. Anu, thank you and welcome to the live. If you would like to give us like a very brief background first, just like talk about this, and then I'll get into the questions.
Yeah, so my name is Anu, y'all, and I have a psychology background. So I'm all about understanding people, learning about people, and I'm pretty new to caregiving, and it's only been 3 years compared to all my friends who've done this for many, many decades. But yeah, so I'm pretty new to epilepsy as well. I've never learned about it. I've never done anything about it until I dated my partner. We've been together for 3 years, college mates. So lots of college love stories started in there. And ever since then, we've been navigating how to support each other, especially with this epileptic journey, and learn about each other and learn about the epileptic, the community in general.
All right, so Anu, just for everybody else who's on the live with us, like, uh, did your partner get diagnosed after you guys started dating, or was this before you were together?
So he was diagnosed at the age of 11 since a little tiny kid. When he started dating me, he immediately disclosed it, but I was really playful. I didn't know exactly what that was until I learned and got into the relationship. Okay, this is what this is. Okay, lots of trials and tribulations in between there. So I kind of went into the relationship not knowing anything, but then in the relationship now I know a lot about epilepsy and we're learning together. So it's mainly just a journey that we're going through.
Right, right. So, according to you, Anu, what has been the toughest aspect of supporting him with his epilepsy journey? What has been most challenging for you?
I think um, I think dealing with the seizures itself, when you know it's going to happen, is not really a struggle because people know how to treat it at some point, especially when it's going through a lot. However, with seizures, anything can happen at any time. I think that sense of preparedness is what has really has been a struggle for me because you'll be talking to your best friend, your father, your mother, anybody, and within seconds, life can turn to 0 to 360 at some point. You'll be at the hospital the next hour. And the scariest point is that anything can happen at any time. The person can have 8 hours of sleep, perfect diet, everything is going perfectly. You think they're not going to have a seizure, and immediately they're going to have a seizure. So you need to be prepared at all times, whether that's keeping them at eye distance, whether that's carrying their medications, whether that's giving them a water bottle. When they're studying for exams, they forget to drink and eat sometimes. It's making sure that they're okay and also dealing with that anxiety and fear that something is going to happen. So balancing all of that in midst of their seizures is important, and that was challenging for me in general.
Right, understandably so. Thanks for sharing, Anu. I mean, you mentioned that there's obviously a lot of anxiety if you're
Yeah.
attached, even for you as a caregiver, you don't know what will happen the next minute.
Mhm.
But what are some of the coping mechanisms that you've developed for yourself? Those have been which have been helpful for you to overcome these emotional challenges.
Like coping mechanisms, right? You're asking? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the main thing that for me is that, I mean, friends and family generally can only do so much, right? But having or dating a partner with epilepsy or any mental health issue that is very specific, right? Only certain people can relate to that. So immediately what I did was, in America at least, we have something called the Epilepsy Foundation. Every city has it in their place. So I went and contacted where we're from and I said, hey, I'm new to this community, expressing my concern. I just want to learn. I want to connect with people. I want to connect that with people that are in connection to epilepsy. Also, I want to be friends with people who are diagnosed with epilepsy, because not only am I learning my partner, but I'm also learning other people as well, constantly understanding what's going around me. So in that aspect, right, I went to them, and they were such a huge help. I mean, lots of my close friends now are diagnosed with epilepsy, and we sometimes joke about some things. We not only am I getting that caregiving experience, but I'm also getting what it's like to be on the other side, that's being diagnosed with epilepsy.
Yeah, great. I think a lot of people do talk about this openly,
Mhm.
at least in kids. It's not the same here in India,
Mhm.
where it's very hard for find community and the support that you. So, I mean, also, are you like a part of a caregiving community,
Yeah.
like maybe not related to epilepsy, but yeah.
Mhm.
So you've like found some thing that you would like to mention, and how has that helped?
Oh, other than epilepsy, right? I just need to make sure that I'm hearing correctly. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I've done a lot of roles, jobs wise, and that way I've met a lot of coworkers that have been in the caregiving experience. I've helped a lot of little children with autism. So, on the spectrum, so I've helped them in that aspect, supporting them in that role. I have a lot of friends that have been diagnosed with mental health issues. My job is I work as a therapist, so not directly giving medications like I do when it comes to seizures, but I'm helping them in the empathetic I can talk today, empathy side, giving them therapy, offering them advice, so that type of thing. So it's been there since I was a little kid, but I just didn't know that this was a thing officially.
Right, right. Um, and also would like to talk a little bit about what I mean. So you say that you've had experience with caregiving
Mhm.
for the longest time, only now that you are like, caregiving for a person with epilepsy. But how is this journey, maybe right from the beginning, how has this impacted your own sense of self, your identity? What kind of change has it brought?
So I normally, to begin with, I'm playful, I'm jolly, I'm always here and there, I'm always, being with everybody. But the only thing that I felt that was missing in my life was that sense of responsibility and commitment. And I think dating my partner for 3 years at least showed me a lot of responsibility and commitment through caregiving. I don't even consider this as like caregiving. It's just a regular day for us. Waking up in the morning, making sure that he's done everything, I'm done with everything. He supports me equally as I support him. So it doesn't even look like we're caregiving at some point. We're just supporting and being best friends with each other. So in that aspect, I think having that solid sense of responsibility and commitment was what I needed. And that's what I'm learning from all of this. And that's how my sense of identity grew as a person.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And what about your dynamic couple? You say that you like support each other. Doesn't really feel like you're a caregiver for him, but how has that been impacted by all the challenges that come with a diagnosis, of a chronic condition? It can't be easy dating somebody with condition. So I mean, where you're responsible like you are, there's so much that you. Has that strengthened your bond? Has it had its share of challenges that you? What has it impacted your relationship like?
I think mainly he's probably caring for me mostly. When you look at the person, I think we should always emphasize epilepsy is not something that's vividly transparent. You can be talking to someone and you don't even know that they've been diagnosed with epilepsy. And my partner is just like that as well. He will keep it very casual. He'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm diagnosed with epilepsy. It's all cool. But mainly, it's the reciprocation. But challenges wise, I think one thing that I want to touch bases on is the sense of trust. So with people that usually with that have been diagnosed with epilepsy, they have a way of doing their life, medications at certain times, food at certain times. They don't leave the place that they're born in. Okay, they drive that same car. There's no sense of flexibility. So I think me and him navigating new places, new food, new restaurants. We were in college, right? So lots of friends were taking us to places. We don't know if we're going to get proper hydration, water, sleep, what is conditions like that. So I think that was a big challenge, that flexibility aspect. Now it's kind of sort of good because medications have changed, but navigating the flexibility and making sure that okay, wherever you're going, making sure that those okay, hydration is good, sleep is good, okay, making sure that everything is able to be navigatable, and when you're going in a new place, you know exactly what you're signed up for.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Right.
I think it makes sense in my head, but when I say it, it's like very
Same thing. I can imagine what it's like because you're like now you have a relationship, and also there's so much that you are responsible for it. There's a lot of grounding because I'm sure like daily things which become routine are a challenge. For anybody else it would seem like something, there's so much to take on every day and become for you, but then yeah, you've got to become responsible and really
Yeah.
look out for it. Otherwise that's hard. Right. So what do you do to take care of yourself emotionally, Anu? Is there like
Yeah.
a routine that you like? Of course, with the additional responsibility of being a caregiver,
Mhm.
it takes a. How do you like take care of yourself?
Yeah, so in previous like response to our previous question, I think you said something that really hit the spot, breaking that routine. So like at first with people that are diagnosed with epilepsy, routine is something very crucial, but that can take an opposite side, and routine can be the same reason why you have a seizure, because you need to be flexible and you need to be able to navigate certain places, right? When it comes to the other question you asked, I think just like any other relationship, it's the same thing. Even when you're dating someone who has epilepsy or any mental health issue, have a life of your own. I cannot advocate this enough. Go meet your own friends, have your own friends group, have your own hobbies. I mean, I run, I dance all the time. I take my car and go places alone. Now, in college we lived together for a majority of the time. So at that point, it was a little bit of a struggle to have a life of my own because he was always behind me. But now I'm in a different city, working a different job, and he's here doing something completely different. So whether I like it or not, that separation is crucial for me. So then I don't get something in psychology, we call it empathy burnout. So I don't get empathy burnout, and I have a life of my own, and I'm able to care for people knowing that my sense of self is stable.
Right. That's very interesting what you mentioned. Empathy burnout. I'm sure, yeah. I mean, if you're around them all the time, then
Yeah.
it's a little hard. If you don't
Mhm.
have identity of, it becomes very hard to constantly give
Mhm.
the way you're required to as right.
Mhm.
So, I mean, any advice, anything that you would want to, say to anybody who's caregiving, maybe for somebody with epilepsy or anything else as well? What is your learning from this journey?
I mean, I'm fairly new to this as well, so anyone in the comments can also give me advice. But I think from what I've learned is any relationship, any committed relationship that you're in, right? Not just with people with epilepsy, any mental health issue, this can go for anybody that's watching the live. Never ever give up on your loved ones, okay? Because not everything is going to be sunshine and rainbows. There is going to be days where they're going to have their like their upsets and their tantrums, and they're going to have the complete opposite of what you signed up for. But you cannot give up on them, because having that sense of, okay, that person trusts me, that person, I can rely on them, that person can rely on me. I think personally for me, that is the best feeling in the world, to be able to give to people, to be able to service and show humanity to people, right? In that aspect, I wanted to say that it's important that you understand the partner, right? You make sure that they can rely on you and you can rely on them. And also one more thing, when you're a caregiver, I completely transparent. I've talked to a lot of other caregivers. It looks like sometimes they're trying to control the situation because they want medications to be done, water to be given, sleep should be done, and sometimes the person with that medical illness or that disability feels a little bit, the loss of autonomy. So in that aspect, I want to say, when you're dating somebody, understand them. You're not going to control the situation, be a guidance. At the end of the day, what they choose to do with themselves is anyone is their responsibility. But you can be that guiding source of light, and you can show them, okay, do this, do that, okay? Or what do you want to do? Okay, we'll work, we can do a compromise, okay? But either way, don't try to be controlling, and understand the partner. Also, one more thing that I learned, right? And sorry if the response is so lengthy, but I want to really share my thoughts on this, is that one thing that I've learned in this relationship is that anything can happen at any time, like I said, right? So stop and smell the roses. Always appreciate and be grateful for what you have, because things can change within, like a dosa on a pan. It can change within 2 seconds. So in that aspect, always be grateful, and always appreciate what you have.
Right. Of course. I mean, that's great advice, I mean, with things like, so they're chronic in nature, every day counts, every moment matters. So of course, yes, living in the present can be very important.
Mhm.
That's correct. Right. So anything else? And you're a therapist, you understand this well. You also talked about empathy burnout, pace of your own, because you need
Mhm.
to show up for him every now and then. But so like, how do you identify if you're having a burnout as a caregiver? Like, how would you know, and what would you like do to start working on it? Like, you know, anything that you would like to comment on?
So one thing I know that Anu is getting a little bit tense and she doesn't want to be caregiving and doing all that is I get irritated. I wear my emotions on my face, so anyone who sees me will immediately know if I'm happy or sad within 2 minutes. So in that aspect, with my partner, he can easily sense, okay, this girl is getting a little bit tired of me. Let me kind of send her back home, or let me give her a few days to breathe and chill. And so usually when I'm like that, I don't tell him. I just, go off and do my own thing and I'll come back. So then things will be back to normal. But usually he can sense that. And I can sense it in myself. Okay, I'm getting a little bit irritated. Let me go run. Let me go walk a little bit. Let me go do my own thing. Let me be alone for a little bit so then I can cope with my own self and then go back and give love to everybody.
Right, right. So yeah, taking time off
Mhm.
maybe helps if you feel this way, right? Right. All right. So uh, coming to an end of my questions, Anu, if there is anything that you would like to add about this entire experience, what the past 3 years have taught you, or anything else that you would like to add outside of what we've talked about, please go ahead.
Um, I'm trying to think. I think I hit all the points that I've written down before. But I guess keep going. Just keep swimming. Like Dory says, keep swimming, just keep swimming. We're all in this together. No matter even if you have epilepsy or not, even any mental health issue, any problem, anything, that community is always with you. Learn to lean on each other, learn to support each other. Never ever think that you're going through this alone. Okay. I cannot emphasize that enough. Even if you're a caregiver or even if you're a person diagnosed with that certain mental health issue, you are not alone and you're completely valid for what you're going through. Speak up so then people know what you're going through because you have a voice and you have a story. Use it. It will be
Right.
very inspiring for people. Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Anu. Also, for anybody who's joined us and doesn't already know, at Solab we run support groups. These are online groups that we do with therapists, and we have groups both for caregivers and for people with epilepsy, among other chronic conditions as well. And the idea here is to again allow people to have a sense of community, be able to connect with others going through similar challenges, and also to be able to get some good guidance from therapists leading these groups. So, I mean, back in India, it's much harder to find community, be it online or offline. So, this is our attempt to try and give people that safe space where they can feel like they belong and they're not alone on this journey.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Thanks so much, Anu, for your inputs, for your thoughts today.
Thank you so much
Glad that you
for having me.
joined. Yeah, yeah, it was great talking to you. Thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you.